It doesn't matter where you were born. It doesn't matter if you're documented or not documented. Our schools are, it's part of our entire plan is to make sure that every single student feels safe, confident coming to school. So we want everybody to know, regardless of what you may hear in the news or see in the newspapers, all students, immigrants, are entitled to a free public education, and the law stands behind them.
The education landscape is constantly evolving. Staying ahead of the trends is essential. Welcome to EdBuzz LA County, where we explore groundbreaking initiatives, inspiring stories, and innovative practices shaping the future of learning here in Southern California. The Superintendent Student Advisory Council is a unique platform that brings together a diverse group of students to provide valuable insights and perspectives on issues affecting their education. Today, we'll talk with some members of this group about how they're advocating for educational rights and empowering students to create change in their community. I'm Elizabeth Graswich, Executive Director of Public Affairs and Communications, and I'm joined now by Dr. Debra Duardo, Los Angeles County Superintendent of Schools. Welcome, Dr. Duardo.
Hi, Liz. Thank you.
And three members of LACO's Superintendent Student Advisory Council, Alex, Dena,
Hi.
Aiden, Yoon, and Van Do. Welcome. So I am so glad that you're here with us today. And can we just go through brief introductions? And we'll go ahead and start with you, Van.
So my name is Van, and I'm from Rosemead High School. I'm a junior, and I'm a part of my school's ASB and Link Crew. And I just want to give a thanks to my mom for driving me here today.
Awesome.
My name is Alejandro Dena. I'm also part of an El Monte school district. I'm part of the El Monte School District. I go to Mountain View High School. And thanks to my mom, dad, and brother for being here as well.
Hello everyone, my name is Aiden Yoon. I am in grade 10 and I attend Burbank High School under the Burbank Unified School District.
Awesome. Just appreciate all of you being here and all of your family members for supporting you as well.
Yeah.
Dr. Duardo, can we just start a little bit with the Student Advisory Council? What was the inspiration for it, and particularly with the new Know Your Rights educational campaign?
Yeah, so we have over 1 million students in LA County and 80 school districts. And as the county superintendent of schools, I'm oftentimes put into a position where I have to make decisions based on what's best for our students. And I'm a strong believer that whenever you are supporting or advocating for any group of students or people, you need to hear from them. So before I make decisions, I want to make sure that I have the opportunity to not only visit schools, but to meet with students, hear from them, and really have an opportunity to get feedback on some of the decisions that we're making to see if they're aligned. But also it's a wonderful opportunity for student leadership, for them to be empowered, for them to have a voice, for them to have the opportunity to do something like what they're doing today, or to participate in a press conference, or to do some public speaking at an event, to talk about their experience and what they'd like to see. And as it relates to knowing your rights and the campaign that we're working on, it's making sure that every student in LA County feels a sense of belonging, feel safe, feel that school is a place where they can go and learn and not have to worry about any type of immigration concern or discrimination, or feeling like they are not able to access a high quality public education.
And we certainly know that students often listen to other students more maybe than they would to an adult who's sharing the message.
Absolutely. And the students are the experts, and they're brilliant, and they come up with great ideas. And so it just makes perfect sense to make sure that we bring them together and engage them in the decision making and the conversations that impact them personally.
So all three of you applied. It's an application process. So would one of you or all three of you mind sharing, what drew you to serving on the Student Advisory Committee?
So I joined because, I was a few weeks after a program I did over the summer, and I just checked my Gmail before school started. And Ms. Reyes, our activities coordinator, she sent an email about the Student Advisory Council saying, this is a great opportunity to be involved with the county and make decisions for the better of everyone. And discussion and like enriching my community is like something I always like want to accomplish. And so, I don't know, I just found it really interesting. And I just decided to go through the application process. And, I'm thankful that I got in.
Oh, that's awesome.
For me, my A-Push teacher and also my Link Crew advisor, Miss Van, shout out to Miss Van, and she sent me the link to like the application. She was like, Van, this is like a perfect like leadership opportunity for you. And at first I didn't know what like it was, and then I did my research about Lake Code, and I really like what your mission is. And so I applied, and I see issues within my community that I would like to maybe take part on, or try to make changes, but I just don't know where to start. So I think this is a great first step for me to get involved in more of my community and try to make changes that help my community.
Well, and specifically, you all are involved in the Know Your Rights educational campaign. And so, Aiden, would you share of what drew you specifically to that campaign?
So I was particularly interested in the Know Your Educational Rights Committee because this campaign was an opportunity for me to present and speak at various schools throughout Los Angeles County. And I know that the resources provided here are excellent resources for immigrant students and actually improves their lives. So the idea that I had a direct impact with my words to help improve the lives of immigrant students and my fellow peers was quite captivating. And also, I know that many immigrant families are going through challenges because of the dysfunctional systems and practices and also disparities in resources. And so I hope to eliminate these challenges and also, or at least help alleviate them. And I know that the Know Your Educational Rights campaign is a perfect platform for that. And then the Know Your Educational Rights campaign was quite engaging for me because of its impact it had on students all over Los Angeles County. So for example, the design of the Know Your Educational Rights campaign is to help support immigrant students and ensure that their rights are not encroached on because of a lack of information or these students not understanding that they do have certain legal safeguards put into place to protect them. And so I knew that that was very valuable.
That's great. And, I think one of the things that's so great about the Student Advisory Committee is you're out and about with students your own age. And so I think you often will bring back information to Dr. Duardo, to our leadership team about what students are thinking. So, what are you all hearing about the concerns students have related to the immigrant relations and rights?
We know most of the information we know through Dr. Freddie, who unfortunately isn't here with us today. But through Zoom meetings, we'll often these slideshows that he provides with us, and it'll have information such as how immigrants have access to public health care, how they'll be able to have access to fresh food. And so Freddie, he's doing an amazing job helping to inform us, and he's actually going around LA County high schools giving presentations to these students. And so right now he's just looking for different high schools to give these presentations to. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to one of them, but I really do want to continue being involved in this Know Your Educational Rights community. And I'm hoping to bring it to my school, Mountain View High School, at some point. And so I've talked to my principal about it. And, whenever we have the time to, or, whenever, we're just able to in general, I hope we can continue to spread awareness and inform everyone as much as possible about our immigrant students and the rights that they retain.
Well, and we're certainly hearing that there's a lot of confusion out there, a lot of misinformation. Dr. Duardo, can you clarify a little bit for our audience about what kind of protections do exist?
Yeah, I think it's really important, and that's why we have this campaign, is to inform immigrants and the entire community that all students have the right to a free public education. It doesn't matter where you were born. It doesn't matter if you're documented or not documented. Our schools are, it's part of our entire plan is to make sure that every single student feels safe, confident coming to school. So we want everybody to know, regardless of what you may hear in the news or see in the newspapers, all students, immigrants, are entitled to a free public education, and the law stands behind them. And as school districts and schools, we're going to do everything possible to protect all of our students, and not only to protect them, but to make sure that they're getting the resources that they need, that they're getting accurate information. There's a lot of fear out there. There's been a lot of negative rhetoric around immigrants. There's been negative talk about, mass deportations, families being separated. And I've gone out and I've spoken to students and families that are really terrified. They're afraid of being separated. And we want our schools, our teachers, everybody who works on a school campus, counselors, to be able to provide accurate information if a parent or a student is concerned, to make sure that they are feeling safe at school and able and ready to learn.
Van, I'll ask you, are there strategies that you think schools can use to reach students about this important information?
I believe yes. So I think one way schools can spread awareness about their rights is maybe all students and families from the school district can receive a mail, an email about their rights. Or during registration for the new school year, we can have a note or a clarification that all immigrant students have the right to their education and they can receive free education and that their immigration status won't affect that.
That's great. And I know you've all attended, Alex, you mentioned it, trainings with Freddie. He's awesome. Yeah. Around, know your rights, how you can speak to your peers about it. Is there anything that you've learned from that experience of how to engage peers in those conversations?
To be honest, we haven't really had that much talk about direct engagement with other students. Mm-hmm. But as you said before, towards Van, about how we can encourage other students to talk about immigrants and their educational rights, I believe that another way to do that as well is to just get administrations to promote these rights. I know in a school site council meeting I had, our principal, he recently added a new topic to school safety regarding immigration, where he'll basically it'll be within our school policies and safety guides to just have a plan for immigration. And that can include things such as ensuring that school remains a safe place for immigrant students, and ensuring that they get the proper they just get proper regards in terms of any language barriers that might exist. I know that they recently added a counselor position for students who have recently come to the country. And so they'll have a counselor who can talk to them, and it'll just alleviate any language barriers that might exist. And I think that's some additional ways that we can engage with students in order to protect them.
Alex just shared, Dr. Duardo, some of the things that schools are doing related to language access. Are there other things that schools can do to reduce disparities related to educational access?
Absolutely. A big part of it is equitable funding and making sure that all schools are funded appropriately to meet the needs of the students that they serve. And whether you live in a very affluent area of the county or a more low-income area of the county, all students should have access to the same types of programming and services. We want to make sure that our teachers are trained appropriately and they're teaching culturally responsive information. We want to also make sure that we have specialized targeted programs, and it's important for schools to assess who are the students that they're serving. And if there are certain students that need more counseling support or may need, additional English language support, then we want to make sure that those students are getting the resources that they need. But a lot of it is also, protecting students from discrimination, from bullying, making sure that we are working with students together as a school community to say, part of our mission is for everybody to feel safe and to be able to come to school, enjoy one another. Kids should be able to support one another. And if there is any kind of bullying or discrimination, students should know how to report that or how to address it should it come up.
From a student perspective, Aiden, what do you think that schools can do to better promote students' educational rights or to protect them?
Yeah, so I think the main principle that schools should be focusing on at this point is equitable access, just like Dr. Duardo said. And in order to gain this equitable access, schools need to start implementing multilingual resources because that transcends language barriers that are often pertinent in immigrant families and immigrant students. So it's important that we're able to give out resources and policies that everyone can understand, especially immigrants, since those are the people who are often have disparities when it comes to their education.
Yeah.
Well, and I know your committee is new and you just got started, but what are some of the future plans for your committee in spreading the word at schools?
So when we had the meeting with Mr. Freddie, he said about something about working on social media platforms to promote the rights. So maybe after this, me and Alex and Aiden will probably get on to like create social media platforms like on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook to like spread that awareness.
That's great, and I know my team's actually excited to work with you all on that.
Oh yeah, and then, additionally, there's like a student leadership summit that we're working towards for like the end of the year in June. And so the Know Your Educational Rights campaign is also going to be like an integral aspect of that campaign. Of that summit. Mm-hmm. And so basically, we're already like planning out how the summit will be worked out with, we already have a motto. I think it was, I forgot the motto actually, but we're like working with like the actual summit itself in order to promote educational rights in front of an audience of around 500 people. And so, it's all about publicity. And if we want to like engage and get people to like, recognize our mission and our goal.
But that's another example of, the students' leadership. They are planning this summit. They are deciding on who the speakers will be. They are organizing all aspects of it. And they're going to be an integral part of the program. So those are the types of things that we're talking about, is them stepping up as the leaders that they are. And really, they're going to have 500-600, fellow high school students that they're going to be working with to address this issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know we're excited about it coming this summer. And we'll be sure to be posting information about it on our show notes when we have that information, and helping you spread the word wide. Before we close for our students, if you could change one thing about how schools support immigrant students, what would that be?
So I think that schools should focus on inclusivity towards these immigrant students and families, because oftentimes schools have these resources, but they're only pertinent to English speakers. And so this disparity towards these immigrant families is quite harsh. And so that's one of the concerns that Dr. Duardo also mentioned, was the language barriers that prevent equitable access to resources. And so if schools were able to implement more inclusive policies and also create programs where maybe mentors of similar experiences who are also immigrants can help these students. And so there's actually a program that's been implemented in certain Los Angeles County schools in which there's legal consultings for these immigrant students, which Mr. Freddie Ruiz mentioned. And so if this was able to be like dispersed on a wider level for more schools in the Los Angeles County, I think that would be a great idea.
Do either of you want to add anything to that?
I would like to add maybe, because my school is very diverse, we have a good amount of like immigrant students at our school, and we have like diverse counselors who are able to speak like multiple languages. And we have a language center, which for immigrant students who are like learning English, they go there for translations and like stuff like that, to ask questions for help. So I think that's a great way or a step to start implementing that to other schools in the district, so it could be more diverse and we can have more languages and help for the new incoming immigrant students.
Appreciate that. Alex, anything else you want to share?
I guess additionally, what I have to offer is just like recognizing that immigrant students, their, I guess what they were born in, or like, their issues with like language barriers, it shouldn't define their education, and they shouldn't be limited to taking, certain classes that, don't really reflect on their ability to learn. I know like a few immigrant students who are like taking like a bunch of AP classes. I just know this one girl, she's like in AP Spanish and Spanish language and literature at the same time. And, she's taking like a lot of these difficult classes despite, growing up in, I guess with like harder circumstances for her, right? And so I think if schools promote like strong education for these students, I think will like allow people to like flourish into allow them to like flourish outside of like what they were born into.
Yeah, but it also sounds like you're talking about recognizing the strengths
Yeah.
of our students that are recent immigrants, that just because they don't speak the language doesn't mean they're really intelligent. It means that they have to learn the language, but they still need to be given the opportunity to grow in other areas and to identify the strengths that they bring with them from their countries of origin.
Yeah. I know a friend, one of my best friends actually, like for privacy reasons, I'll call her like, Sally. She immigrated here to America when she was like 5 years old. And, she had to go through kindergarten not knowing like the language. But, she was like probably the smartest student at our school. And, in elementary, they had this thing called AR points, where if you would like read a book and take a quiz, you would just like, they would give you points. And she had like the most out of everyone in the school, like probably like 900 to 1,000. And I think, not knowing English to being able to read like all of the Harry Potter series in fourth grade, I think that's just, it's really amazing what, people can do when we like foster growth and development to our students.
Well, I can see how sensitive you are to her needs and how seeing her struggle and hearing her story impacts you directly. I can see it, in your eyes and the emotion attached to it. And I just really appreciate that if everybody had that kind of compassion, of understanding that students come here speaking a different language from a different country and how scary that is. And if we could all, help them and support them, wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah. And I had a friend in middle school. She immigrated from, I believe, China midway through 8th grade. And I didn't speak Chinese, but I had a friend who spoke Chinese. So I included her in my friend group, and we tried to teach her like basic English phrases and like stuff that would really help her. And we also, whatever she has like questions with or need help on, we would help her, because my middle school isn't really staffed with like Asian teachers. So I'm very grateful that I could like be able to do that for her. I know how great like being able to like help someone and being able to be helped can be.
Yeah.
What a difference you can make.
Yeah. Before we close, Dr. Duardo, do you want to share any final thoughts? We have these these are just 3 of your amazing students that you have on your advisory.
I just have so much gratitude for all of them because they're all so intelligent and they have so much potential. And this is what it's all about. It's about students serving in leadership positions and deciding on where they want to take their education and how they want to support their friends and peers and get to decide on how schools can improve. So thank you to all of you for being here. I'm really excited about the summit in June, and I'm sure we'll have a full house ready and eager to hear what you all put together.
I want to thank Dr. Duardo and Alex, Dena, Aiden, Yoon, and Van Do for joining us today to share more about how they're making a difference through the Student Advisory Council and the Know Your Educational Rights Committee. To learn more about the Student Advisory Council, visit our website, www.lacoe.edu. I'm Elizabeth Grasswich. I'll see you next time on EdBuzz.